WWE embarrassed themselves in front of thousands of people.
What a bunch of marks.
Yeah, guys, let's get into this review and reaction. Welcome back to the Radar for Wrestling channel. This is a real reaction of tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. Roman Reigns was there, John Cena was there, Finn Balor was there, and they had matches in front of a live crowd, thousands of people at a hip-hop concert. It didn't really go over that well, but the show started off with none other than John Cena coming out, just like he did on Monday Night Raw, talking trash about Roman Reigns, having the crowd in the palm of his hand the entire time, dividing them between Team Cena, Team Reigns, getting the crowd excited, hyped in there. Paul Heyman would come out, obviously talk trash back, and then hum John Cena's theme music as he left. So that was pretty funny the way it ended. But it's classic Cena. He gets the crowd riled up, always gets the fans involved and hyped for everything he does. Just classic, masterful promo by John Cena. Nothing new. It's pretty much run-of-the-mill Cena.
Yeah, I mean, Cena, people need, the younger guys need to follow, because he's a guy that just goes out there and knows what he's doing. He's basically a Jedi master when it comes to crowd manipulation and just getting people behind them and getting a response from them, which is a lot of times but most of the main roster misses. So, I mean, give kudos, but whatever you think about John Cena, he's reached a level where he can just do whatever the hell he wants because he's just that good. So, and then with Paul Heyman, I mean, can you get probably the two best promos in the entire company? So it just is what it is. It was a solid little segment to lay the groundwork for their match, Roman and Cena at SummerSlam, just kind of slowly but surely getting this match going. I'm excited for it. Yeah, and it's good to have a guy like Cena around. You know, I know people hate Cena. He's a polarizing figure, but at the end of the day, when it comes to wrestling, the dude knows what he's doing. Yeah,
he gets the crowd in the palm of his hand, eats up every single word he says. They react to him no matter what he says, what comes out of his mouth. Yeah. So it's masterful class promo work by John Cena. So the next thing on the show was Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. Now remember, Finn Balor re-debuted on SmackDown last week and attacked Sami Zayn. So he's in a proper match against Sami Zayn here. Not much to talk about here. This wasn't much of a match. Kind of sucks that Zayn's in the spot. I kind of hope that they eventually get back to the conspiracy theory stuff, and hopefully, like I've said a million times before, have it be legit conspiracy theory against him. But Balor gets the win, rightfully so. Shouldn't be. I don't know about being it against Zayn, but rightfully so. Him re-debuting, he deserves to get a win in his first match in, and he got one here.
Yeah, I mean, it's Finn. I'm still worried that they're gonna screw it up with Finn. I just want him to be more of the NXT Finn than anything on the main roster Finn. Just this match, it was what it was. Again, they can have a great match because they're both pros. It is what it is, but the match was what it was. But I'm still a little bit nervous. I don't know if they're gonna book him correctly. I feel like he's gonna get thrown to the wayside. I got this gut feeling they're gonna mess this up. So at least it's good to see Finn a good start too, especially at the end of the night. But I don't know. I don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust it either. It'd be pretty interesting what transpired at the end of the night, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Next thing the show is Baron Corbin's descent into poverty, I guess, continues. He's talking about how the GoFundMe didn't work out. The guy who created the site ghosted him, took his money, and then stole his identity. So crazy allegations to make right there. But that happened. Then he runs into Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens kind of he apologized to Kevin Owens for what happened last week. Kevin Owens gives him some money out of his wallet. So nice charity work there from Kevin Owens. But then Corbin will proceed to get shot in the nutsack by a stray missile coming from the tank of our girl Shotzi Blackheart. Hit him right in the nutsack, and then here comes Ziggler and Rude, and they kind of they jack him for his money while he's down. And Kevin Owens scares him off. So that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a huge fan of like the promo he cut. I kind of feel like they got to go a little bit more out there, but hopefully that comes down the line. Like we said, we booked it before. Hopefully it goes down that road. But it's been a solid start to this, and then him getting the nutsack is just adding insult to injury there. So solid stuff there.
Like, I love a nice, stupid nut shot. I mean, who doesn't love a nut shot, like a random nut shot? Yeah. Everyone loves that stuff. It's hysterical. This is the most interesting Baron Corbin's been to me ever since he's been, besides like the lone wolf stuff he was doing on NXT when he first came up, if you remember that stuff. But yeah, it's not exactly where I want it to be, but it definitely has a lot of potential, and they're getting to the point where he's, maybe they might be booking him the way we talked about, where he'll just be showering at the arenas. I like the fact that Dolph and Brew just robbed the man on TV, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good little solid run for Corbin. I hope they continue this and keep booking correctly, because this is the most interesting he's been.
Yeah, they jacked him for about I think less than $100, but it didn't seem like there was ton of 20s that Owens gave him. But
I mean, he gave him some.
he got his shit stolen from him, so it kind of is what it is. Then we had a real weird segment. You have Big E in the ring. Obviously, Mr. Money in the Bank comes out. He's hyped. He gets interrupted by the returning Apollo Crews we haven't seen in a few weeks. He comes out. Then you have a bunch of other guys make their way out here. So you have Cesaro coming out, you have Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, and you have Shinsuke Nakamura, and then they all start brawling with like IC title implications. So I guess everybody wants it, even the tag team guys want it. But I thought they were gonna go like a restart, come back from the commercial after the brawl and do a 6-man, but they didn't. It was just kind of the end of it. So it wasn't really. It's kind of like a random throwaway segment. Have all these guys there. Cesaro's fall is just continuing to just drop down the card, but. Yeah, I guess we'll find out somehow if these all 6 of these guys or all 5 of these guys can end up facing Apollo Crews maybe for that title. But I'm assuming a 6-man is going to come next week.
Yeah, I thought this segment was terrible. I thought it was awful. I thought it was like poorly booked. If anything, it got me just like upset over what's going on with the IC picture. Like if there's no clear person, I mean, Big E should be bigger than the IC belt right now. He has the Money in the Bank. He should be in a bigger feud than going back to a cruise or whatever the hell they're gonna do. Who even knows? It was just lazy booking. I think I didn't enjoy the entire segment at all. Thought it was very dumb.
Yeah, it wasn't a good segment. It was kind of just thrown together. And the fact he throws Ziggler and Roode in there, they're a tag team. They come out together.
Tag team. It doesn't make any sense.
Because like, what are you gonna get out of that in terms of like neither of them are probably gonna challenge for that belt anyways.
No.
They're heels as well, so it's just leading to a 6-man tag. It's just a lazy way to get there. That's all we're gonna get. Yeah,
it sucked.
Yeah,
it's really like the worst part of the show. I mean, SmackDown has been the more solid show between them and Raw, but this was like a Raw segment, even worse than a Raw segment.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like Cesaro will probably be the most likely guy to that. Maybe Nakamura to get that title off of Crews going forward, so we'll see what happens. But the next thing in the show, they cut over to the Rolling Loud Musical Festival in Miami, right there next to the Hard Rock arena, stadium, the Miami Dolphins, and it's a hip-hop concert, and for some reason WWE want to get involved in this and do matches there for SmackDown. Wale comes out, he's a big wrestling fan, does the music for Big E. He comes out, and the match is an interesting one they decided to put on this. It's Angelo Dawkins versus Chad Gable. It's most super random, like not a random match because they have a feud, but to be at this festival and kind of put it in front of that many people, and it was crickets out there. Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins gets the win. Montez Ford's trying his hardest to hype up the crowd, but they probably don't watch wrestling. They're there to see hip hop music and have fun in a festival, and they're getting this for some reason. And so I don't know why WWE decided to do this, but you got this match and it was what it was, but it wasn't the right match to put here. You got to put big names, people that don't watch wrestling will know. But this is what we got, and it was a bad choice. And then it leads directly into Bianca Belair coming out trying to hype up the crowd and hopefully get a reaction. She doesn't get a reaction either. She's taking on Carmella in a rematch of last week's SmackDown Women's Championship match. And yeah, they didn't get any reaction either. Belair gets the win. She's up there with the crowd celebrating, and she's not getting a reaction whatsoever. So this was just all bad. Yeah,
this was cringy. I feel bad for the guys and girls involved in that. Like they threw them into a bad spot. I mean, that is a spot for a Cena, someone with some name recognition. Those people have no idea what they were watching. They have no clue who those people are. To us, they're superstars, but like to people out at a concert that are intoxicated with all type of different intoxications have no idea what's going on. You need to throw something way bigger than that. Yeah, throw the Rock or something for that to make any sense, because they had no clue what's going on. That was bad. It ruined basically 2 matches on the night. Don't do that ever again. Do not do that ever again, WWE. There's no point of you ever doing that. You're a billion-dollar company. You're not a small TNA or an AEW that needs to hop at everything. That just made no sense whatsoever.
You need something that has more crossover to wrestling, and hip hop scene probably isn't it right now.
No,
like maybe in 99, 2000, yes, 2001,
or
yes.
Or if you do a Ric Flair, or something, I don't know. Just
you needed a big mainstream name. Not even Edge probably would have done it. It had to be somebody that's just massively mainstream. It had
to be like a legend. Undertaker came out, I'm sure he would have got something, but just like you can't throw Angelo Dawkins and Chad Gable out there. Expect these random people to be like, what the hell am I watching? It's just that was really, I don't know what's going on with the booking and the decision makers at WWE right now, but they're just making some really piss poor decisions.
Yeah, that was just, it didn't make much sense. It seems like they just wanted to get Bianca Belair out there and get her like mainstream publicity there as their women's champion, obviously pushing her very, very heavy. So maybe that's part of it as well. And obviously just put her husband beforehand and get that feud out there as well. But they also announced there's a New Year's pay-per-view happening in Atlanta, New Year's Day. So we'll see. That's the first time that's ever happened. We'll see what the name of that. Hopefully it's Great Balls of Fire, but I doubt it. It might be something else. Who knows? All right. So the next thing on the show was New Year's Revolution. So Edge comes out and he's obviously upset for what happened at Money in the Bank that transpired with Seth Rollins getting involved in his match, kind of costing him the Universal title there. So Seth Rollins comes out as well. They go in a back and forth, and then Edge attacks him, drops him down, and starts beating him down. Goes for the spear.
Not putting my hands on you. I'm a liar. No hesitation there from Edge. And Edge with the right hand. And I'll pound him
down. Goes for the spear, but the architect slips out. So this is the match we're gonna get. We all knew it was coming, and it's set in motion already, and it's like it's just chugging along towards SummerSlam. This is gonna be a dream match. Seth Rollins versus Edge, going all the way back to 2014. Where he put his hands on Edge, especially when Edge was retired, and the neck injuries, stuff like that. So what's what we're gonna get, and it's gonna be a great match. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. And will they put a stipulation on it? Who knows? It might just be a regular standard singles match, but this is where it's headed. It was a very solid stuff here from Rollins and Edge. They're both going to do well on the mic leading up. It's just interesting how where they're going to continue to take this, because they've already put their hands on each other. They fought, they brawled. How much further can you go with it? Because you still have an entire month to build to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Seth Rollins. He's not getting the shine that he should be because he has Roman on the roster. Now Cena's involved, and Edge is there. A lot of guys right now on SmackDown, but he's doing great heel work. He's super obnoxious. He's doing a great job. Just his annoying laugh, his stupid suits, everything is just perfectly done, well heel stuff, and he's doing a great job of just being heel and just kind of. There's a lot of guys that are playing heel and trying to be cool. He's not. He's just trying to be the biggest asshole he can be, and he's doing a great job of it, and I love it. And him versus Edge is perfect. I think it's perfect. I think it'll push Seth back into the spotlight of being into a championship picture. Maybe him and Roman going for the title after SummerSlam. That could be somewhere they go with it. This has that potential, or it could be like a long feud. This kind of has the vibes to me of Jericho, Shawn from back in the day, where they similar guys, similar styles of different eras that kind of you can always say they can come back to each other, which Seth and Edge are very comparable. So I think that has, really good upsides in being a great feud.
Yeah, it could be very solid. It could be a multiple pay-per-view feud in SummerSlam and then keep going forward. It could be, we could see that happen. Maybe a title involved or something like that. It could end up being a triple threat afterwards too for the next pay-per-view after SummerSlam triple threat. I'm assuming Roman Reigns, the champion, going against Rollins and Edge in a triple threat format. Next thing on the show was the Toni Storm debut. So she's in SmackDown now, officially a SmackDown female superstar. She's taking on Zelina Vega, and it was a short match. Storm gets the win. It sucks for Vega to be in the spot. No Liv Morgan on the show, no Sonya Deville. So we'll see if that feud continues maybe next week or the week after. Hopefully, Vega's just not there, just in the mix, just kind of thrown around, not really doing anything, because why bring her back just to do that? Hopefully Toni Storm as well, a new addition. Hopefully she can thrive on the SmackDown women's roster.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked that to make a debut and just have a match that short. It didn't really shine or anything. I feel bad kind of for Toni Storm, because that wasn't the debut that you really want. You want a little more time, something where you can show your stuff off. I mean, it wasn't. It actually would have worked better if it was just a squash between a nobody and kind of build her that way, putting her against Alina. I don't know. It doesn't help anybody. I feel, but the women's division needs to be, especially with Bayley hurt. I mean, on both brands, they just need to get a little more depth and stuff going. They got Knox and Blackheart, or whatever they're calling her, Shotzi. So it is what it is. But that wasn't a great first debut.
Yeah, it wasn't a great first debut, but we'll see what goes on going forward, and obviously they'll get more chances and hopefully build up characters. Next in the show, Dominic Mysterio taking on Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso gets the win with the help of Jay, similar to how they won the titles at Money in the Bank. So we'll see if this continues to go on, this feud, and how the Mysterios end up playing out of this, because they don't have titles anymore. Then immediately, I love this though, immediately after they win the match, the Usos, here comes, as they go up to the ramp, here comes Roman Reigns. It's great stuff to get the shot. You get the shot of all three of them there. It's great stuff. Solid work, camera work from the WWE and decision to do that. Now, Roman Reigns comes out and he dresses John Cena. And he denounces John Cena's challenge. He's not going to accept it. He doesn't want to see him. It's John Cena, the same old John Cena. Same old stuff, same old gear, same old song, same old promo. He says it's like, it goes on and on, like the missionary position, the most basic of sexual positions.
Over and over and over. It's like missionary position every single night.
Positions. So yeah, I mean, he's just basically calling Cena a basic bitch. It's still the same Cena.
Yeah.
So solid stuff from Roman Reigns. Really enjoyed it. Then, interestingly enough, Finn Balor comes out and he challenges Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns accepts, laughing it off like, he's not taking Balor seriously. So I'm assuming
Challenge accepted.
seriously. So I'm assuming next week we'll probably get Balor versus Reigns in a non-title match. Maybe John Cena comes out, causes an issue there, causes Reigns to maybe to lose the non-title match in some kind of fluky way. Then he would accept John Cena's challenge, and then hope maybe after SummerSlam, Balor's the one to take on Reigns after that, going into the September pay-per-view and maybe a pay-per-view after that or something like that. But the only reason I could see it happening is why else you would put Balor in this spot if you didn't have the idea of making him the next challenger for Reigns after SummerSlam, because we all know John Cena's not winning. He's not going to stick around, so he's not going to win the title.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why John Cena is here is because Suicide Squad's coming out in August, the same time SummerSlam's out. That's the only reason why he's here. So you're gonna put him against the main guy, Roman Reigns, duh. But in the long run,
he's here for two reasons. He's here now for Fast 9, and then at the end for Suicide Squad.
Is Fast 9 still a thing? Is that still in theaters? Who cares about that movie? That's a HBO Max type of thing. You're gonna watch an HBO. There's no point in watching it going to theater. It's the 9th movie for crying out loud. But yeah, back to wrestling. So the fact that John Cena, Roman Reigns, that's the match for SummerSlam. But in the future, Finn needs to be put in a spot. But I'm still worried that don't forget about Finn or just kind of in this run till SummerSlam, Roman will just destroy him, and it's just like, God knows where he'll be back in NXT or just floundering around somewhere. So that's my biggest fear. But I did love the promo by Roman talking shit about Cena. I thought it was perfect. That it was like so good. I loved it. It just had everything that we hate about Cena. I was like, yeah, that's what we hate. He's the missionary position. That was like the most perfect way to lay that out. I loved it. But yeah, just him versus Finn. I think it makes sense. I think they said this during the broadcast, but Finn beat him in his debut on Raw for that tournament to get into his first, right? So he was like his first win. So I mean, they have a little bit of history in that aspect. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there's some potential there. I'm just still nervous when it comes to Finn on the main roster. I just don't know if Vince and the boys up there know what they're doing with him.
Well, with that being said, if Roman Reigns, like we assume, is going to retain his title at SummerSlam and then eventually go into a feud with Finn Balor, let's book Finn Balor versus the Roman Reigns bloodline.
He's gonna puke!
So, booking this, I would say that we get into a little bit of a faction warfare here because of the bloodline being there. So, obviously, it's Finn Balor, the Bullet Club ties and stuff like that. How do they work this? This could be a solid opportunity to bring Adam Cole into the mix on SmackDown maybe and have him join up as a faction so he can come in as part of a faction and then eventually just branch off from that. Maybe you get him with Finn Balor and then another third guy who you can kind of mess around with as to who it would be if they don't really have anybody else that Bullet Club ties other than AJ Styles.
That doesn't work.
You wouldn't bring AJ Styles because that's like a big ass name to be part of that. So I could see maybe you could do. This
is when the Good Brothers would have been nice to have around.
Yes, you could have done that, done like a faction warfare there. But they could go with the faction warfare. I think it would probably be the best thing to do because it'd make Finn Balor a little more believable in that spot and give him a better chance of being booked better into that spot. I think they can go that. So I would bring in maybe Adam Cole because he's always got Bullet Club ties. Maybe another guy who maybe doesn't have Bullet Club ties, but maybe fits in that group. I don't know exactly who that person could be. Maybe that mystery third guy. But maybe they do something like that.
That's where Kyle O'Reilly would fit in if they
didn't have the
Cole would have the feud.
Yeah,
like it just would have thrown up. But that's where it would work.
And seemingly like it's gonna
Bobby
be
Fish.
seemingly it's gonna be Cole O'Reilly 3 at the SummerSlam Takeover event. So you can't really go from there into that. But I could see Kyle O'Reilly winning that, and that's the way Adam Cole to get to the main roster. And I think the best way maybe to bring an NXT guy, maybe not solo, so Vince doesn't screw with him too much, is to put him as part of a group.
Guy like Adam Cole.
Yeah, put him part of a faction, and it could be a Bullet Club-esque faction.
Balor Club.
Balor Club faction, have Cole in there, and then have a third guy, like I said, maybe somebody that's already on SmackDown, or somebody else from NXT, or somebody from Raw, or somebody we haven't seen in a while. Maybe be part of it, and the three of them can go against the three of the other guys in the bloodline. I think it'll work you some solid tag team matches out there, and it'll get a little caveat in there of how maybe Balor could be a little bit more believable as a guy who can defeat Reigns, even though there really isn't a guy on the roster that is believable in that aspect. But I think it might help in terms of making, you can get multiple pay-per-view feud out of this. And I think it'll be better for Balor and for everybody else involved in the sort of Balor's crew to kind of get a better footing on SmackDown, be a little bit more prominent on the show. You know, I think that would probably be better off for Finn Balor's route going towards Roman Reigns after SummerSlam.
I like everything you said there. I thought it could all work. But I think I want to go back to the meat and potatoes of Finn Balor, the way he was. You remember that promo before last year's WrestleMania, 2020 WrestleMania, where he's saying, you know, he's the best. Like, that was one of the best promos he did on NXT. I think he needs to go to that. Be that guy versus Roman and the Bloodline, and just kind of be the underdog that he's taking on all the actions of the Bloodline, everything being thrown his way, and just proving that he's the best and proving that he's one of the best in the world. I think that way, if you build him correctly in that same badass, I don't care, I'm going to take on everybody, angry Finn Balor that we saw last year, I think that is the way to go against Roman. We can't have the demon crap or just the whole, I'm just a gimmick with the light turning on thing. No. We need the badass, I don't give a crap, I'm going to take on everybody there is. And Roman, you're the one that I want because you got the title. I think that would be somebody, you know, justifiable to throw in there and be someone dominant that can he's not going to beat Roman. I still think Roman should be on a run where he doesn't lose the belt for 2 years until there's a proven guy that we can naturally all say it's time for him to take it because he's worked his way into the main event picture and the title. I think that's the only way it works. You can't just have a thing, we're just going to, like kind of how Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre always felt like, yeah, Bobby is great being a champ, but like, was it time to drop it yet? I don't know. You know, like I want it to feel more natural, and this is where Finn can build that going forward, and maybe not win it this first feud, maybe come back later on, maybe WrestleMania time or later down the road. I think that they should work it that way. Let's grow a guy. Let's just grow a guy to being a champion instead of just forcing the belt on him. Yeah.
Keep Roman as champion for a while, build other guys that eventually could take the belts off of Roman. Or at least
like Finn. This is a great way to build Finn into being a viable, not that he's going to be in this first time out, but just go in there and be a main event guy and like feel like a guy that could be in there and kind of then he takes a loss, has to work his way back a little bit, but it feels more natural that way. Like Austin, when Austin became champion, it was his time. It was just his time. When Shawn became champion, it was his time. When Cena beat JBL of WrestleMania 21, it was his time. We all felt it. It was just like it was the time to change it. Like we haven't felt that in a long while.
Yeah, they got to build somebody organically and feel like he's the next guy to take the title off. Yeah, but we just booked it. Finn Balor, Roman Reigns for the next few months after SummerSlam. He's gonna puke! All right, guys, that's our SmackDown review and reaction for tonight's interesting episode of SmackDown and the embarrassing rolling loud stuff in front of a live crowd. That was really fucking embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like on this video, hit the chair in the corner for hitting first, sub to the channel. I got another video coming out soon, hopefully this weekend, about Roman Reigns and the problem WWE has with Roman Reigns. Should be a pretty interesting one. Make sure you tune in for that one. And for those more people, don't do the job.